Hello and welcome to my review of the Orks Big Mek for Warhammer 40,000 from Games Workshop. One of these miniatures will cost you £31.50 and consists of 32 plastic components and a 50mm round base. Format of this review is as usual, so I'll have a look at the miniature up close. I'll talk about how easy it was to build. We'll look at the spare parts, of which there are a couple. We'll go through some size comparisons, and then at the end I'll go through all of the rules found in the brand new edition of Warhammer 40,000. So first things first, let's talk a little bit about the price. We're past that £30 price point now, which is quite significant. I don't know whether this is going to be the norm for Warhammer 40,000 characters. There's definitely a few characters that are pushing the £26 or so they are knocking on the door of 30, and it wouldn't surprise me if the named characters were at least 30 or over 30 in this recent sort of price hike. What you are getting though is quite an involved build. It's got 2 medium-sized sprues, 32 plastic components. I mean, if you just compare that to one of the other Orks, I think the War Boss is like 17 components or so. So you are getting almost double the number of parts, and I think that definitely has something to do with it. And you're getting a few options, a fair few options more than say the same release as the Shield Captain, where you only get a head option. So let's have a look at the miniature up close. I really like this Ork Big Mek. It is a big mech as well, and definitely frees you up for having 5 of the mega knobs as mega knobs, instead of having to kind of shoehorn you into using one of those as a big mech in mega armor. You can kind of have this one in mega armor in a way. So by having a big mech separately that doesn't have to have that shock attack gun is pretty good. At first, when I saw this model, I thought this wrench thing was like the control for this extra servo arm, but it's not. This servo arm is separate and runs along with his arm, so that has nothing to do with it. He just happens to be holding a wrench, about to fix something. I like the new weapon there, called the Tractor Blaster. It used to have a teleport blaster, but it's now a tractor blaster. Pretty powerful. We'll go through the rules later on. And then the other options, you can have this driller, or you can have the power claw. Now, the driller is fewer attacks, but it's higher strength, better AP, better damage, things like that. He is on these kind of stilt things, and I'm not sure whether it does work. There are his legs, and then he's on these kind of mega armored knobs, sort of armor feet. Again, I'm not sure whether that works. It definitely adds to the sort of size and bulk of the miniature. He was straightforward to put together, but one thing I noticed in the live stream when I was building is I did kind of get a bit carried away and glue the gun itself together and do all of that before I put it on the arm. And really what you're supposed to do is kind of glue one half of the gun onto his arm and then the other half, and then glue everything else on top of that. I'm just so used to assembling guns and then putting them on the model rather than half putting them on the arm and then finishing them later. This teleporter is quite a cool thing. You've got this full engine block on the top as well. It kind of explains why he's fashioned himself this mega knob sort of exoskeleton. You've got this Big Mek kind of banner pole thing. It's not central, it's sort of just added on to the side. It works from like a model point of view, it's quite central rather than just off to one side. But there we go. I'm not sure whether it needed that, maybe, because he is a Big Mek and he needs some sort of something to tell him apart other than his massive melee and ranged weaponry there. You've got a couple of head options. You can either have this one, or you can have the one where he's got like an adamantium skull and a grimace for a face, and that's it. So nice little 3 sets of options there for the Big Mek. Let's go through those spare parts then. So here they are. This is the alternate head. Hopefully you can see that. He's got a couple of screws into his head, and he's got a bionic eye, and then he's got this adamantium skull. I just preferred the look of the other one. It's more war boss for me. Then you've just got the alternative melee weapon, this power claw. It looked very similar to the wrench that he was holding, and not as good, so I went for the driller. And then this is the custom Mega Blaster. It's had a big debuff. It used to be AP -3 and now it's just AP -2, which is a shame. So yeah, I was going to go for this, but in the end I chose not to. If I was to get a second one, maybe I'll probably you know, have the other weapon options, but there you go. Then there you go, it's just the 5 spare parts. So size comparisons then, I'll start off by getting my knob out, which is right here, and you can see he is a fair bit bigger than my Mega Armoured knob. And then we just compare him to the Big Mek in Mega Armour. It's a close one, you know. I did this in the live stream, but the Big Mek is bigger, you know, with the exoskeleton and things, so definitely has more presence. This Big Mek in Mega Armour looks like he's kind of too big for the base now, on this 40mm Terminator base. He probably would look better on a 50mm. Compared to an Ork Boy right here, just gives you an idea. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, fair bit bigger, isn't he, compared to a normal Ork Boy. Definitely has some presence. And then compared to a normal mech right here, which is, yeah, same size as a boy really. So yeah, definitely one of the bigger Ork minis. Speaking of which, is he bigger than the War Boss in Mega Armour right here? I mean, he's on the same size 50mm base. Who has more presence? It's a tricky one, because this absolutely huge chopper thing that he's got definitely leaves an impression, and then the Gretchen that's got that heavy shooter on the top makes an impression too. But in terms of sort of size, yeah, it's a tricky one. I say bulk wise the War Boss wins and is a little bit taller, only very slightly though. But yeah, both really cool Ork minis. And then of course it wouldn't be a comparison if we didn't show you Ghazghkull right here. Just gives you an idea of just how big Ghazghkull is. But I like these two big orks. You know, you've got the War Boss, and then you've got a Big Mek, and then you've got Ghazghkull there. I just like these big orks. They're fantastic. I'd like to see more. Just because I compared it in the live stream, I'll compare it now. Here is the aforementioned Shield Captain. Yeah, bigger than the Shield Captain, although not really leg wise, if that makes sense. You know, if he wasn't on these Mega Armoured feet, then the Custodian would be bigger. But that's where he stands up next to the Shield Captain. And then a few other Imperial models. So we've got Primaris, a Space Marine, and Slimarbo, and he gives them all a run for their money. You know, he's much bigger than a normal Space Marine, and a Primaris doesn't even go up to his head really. So yeah, if you're going up against some Primaris, then he's definitely going to hold his ground. Maybe the captains and things in Terminator armor probably give him a run for his money, depends on what sort of base they're on. But yeah, a big ork. And now you've reached my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules. Now it's very important for me to tell you that the rules for this Big Mek cannot be found in the 2021 Ork Codex from 3 years ago. Has it really been 3 years ago since that Codex came out? In that book, you've got a mech, you've got a Big Mek in Mega Armor, you've got a Big Mek with custom force field, and you've got a Big Mek with shock attack gun. None of those are this Big Mek. I mean, none of them are just called a Big Mek. So the closest one I would probably say is the Big Mek in Mega Armor, but even that one has like teleport blaster. It could have combi rockets, combi scorchers, power claws, and all those kind of things. What you really need is the new rules, which have the rules for this Big Mek in them. Luckily, I have those rules for you. And I'll tell you right away that the points cost for the Big Mek is 80 points. Stat line reads movement of 6 inches, toughness of 5, save of 3+, 6 wounds, leadership 7 and objective control 1. The model is equipped with a custom Mega Blaster and Power Claw. It's important to note that the custom Mega Blaster can be replaced with 1 Tractor Blaster, which is this new weapon, and the model's Power Claw can be replaced with 1 Driller. So we'll talk about the ranged weapons first of all. The custom Mega Blaster, which this one does not have, is a hazardous weapon. That means if you roll a 1, you're going to wound the character. It's a range of 24 inches, 3 attacks, ballistic skill 5+, strength 9, AP -2, damage D6. It's alright, but it's 3 shots at ballistic skill 5+, and you know there's a chance with those 3 shots that you're going to cause yourself a wound. The Tractor Blaster, in my opinion, is the better weapon. For one, it's anti-fly 3+, so that gives your Ork force a nice 36-inch range anti-fly gun that is, is 3+. It's got devastating wounds as well, which means if the attack scores a critical wound, no saving throw of any kind can be made against the attack, including invulnerable saving throws. Very nice. As I say, it's a 36-inch range. It's only 1 shot though. Its ballistic skill is 5+, so again, will it hit that 1 shot with 5+? Probably not. Strength 10, AP -2, damage D6 +1. So again, I think it's nice to have the strength 10, but they've done us dirty there with the AP -2. I think both of the weapons for the Big Mek should be AP -3. Melee weapons then. So you've got the Driller, which mine's equipped with. It's a melee weapon with 2 attacks, weapon skill 3+, strength 12, AP -3, damage 3, and that's the main reason I got it. I wanted an AP -3 weapon on this Big Mek, and this one fulfills it. Yes, it's only 2 attacks, but it is a very high strength of 12 there, and a good AP and a good damage. The Power Claw is the other option you can go for with 4 attacks, same weapon skill of 3+. The strength drops all the way down to 9, the AP is -2, and the damage is 2. So again, it's whether you want double the number of attacks, but your opponent getting an armor save for a Space Marine equivalent. Abilities: core ability is a leader, faction ability is War. More DACA. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. That's very useful. Shock Booster. You can reroll advance rolls made for this model's unit. In addition, each time this model's unit makes a normal, advance or fallback move until that move is finished, models in that unit can move horizontally through models and terrain features, but cannot finish a move on top of another model or its base. It's a leader, so the model can be attached to the following units: boys, looters, mech guns and knobs. Keywords: infantry character, grenades, mech, Big Mek. So there you go, that's my review of the Orks Big Mek. I really like the model ever since I saw it. I thought it would work very well in my force, in my collection, and I wanted to give you an unboxing and review. The weaponry for Orks is a bit all over the place at the moment. I hope that they revise that at some point, but I will always support Orks and new models that they release. What do you guys think of the Orks Big Mek? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for watching. For Gork and Mork.